So this is the project about meanings of good citizenship in the post-pandemic society perception of key social leaders in Hong Kong. So I'm Dr. Eric John from School of Education and Languages of Hong Kong Metropolitan University. This project aims at investigating the meanings of good citizenship among key social leaders. The impacts of post-pandemic digital era and socio-political changes will be explored. So given implication on our understanding about good citizenship in this post-pandemic world is the aim of this project. Well, this project investigates the meanings of teaching good citizenship in the post-pandemic world from the eyes of key social leaders who come from politics, finance, business, social welfare, technology, and education fields. It aims at finding informed understanding about the meanings, challenges, and impacts brought by the post-pandemic on the different dimensions of citizenship, including identity, membership, rights, responsibility, participation, under a background of digitalized and also social changes. While the conventional meanings of good citizenship has been continuously explored, but the pandemic ends and also the digital world accelerate, it has created new demands and challenges on what does it mean by good citizenship on a wider scale. I shall use interview method to explore the viewpoints of about 30 key social leaders with about 5 social leaders chosen from each of these 6 sectors. It is worthy to understand the new meanings of good citizenship in this current digital era. Well, it aims at finding both conventional and new meanings of citizenship in a world full of full uncertainties which are created by globalization, digitalization, populism, nationalism, and militarism. The use of the internet, social media, and other digital devices by the employees and young people to exercise their rights and responsibility shall lead our attention. Actually, globalization has prompted a shift in our perspective towards learning citizen and achieving international success. Globalization and also teaching allow the school to teach and include students from different cultural backgrounds. When students grow up in a culturally diverse society, they will encounter different worldviews, perspectives, and lifestyles. So the interviewees in this research will be including senior and experienced social leaders, since they are providing leadership and management. Well, hopefully this project shall be worthwhile for leader, researcher, and then also public policy maker, as well as school curriculum planners and frontline teachers to inform their policy and practices. The sampling, as I have said, those 30 key social leaders will be selected through purposive sampling because of their respective industry. And also this method allows us to carefully select cases to fulfill some representativeness, though this sample does not claim to be statistically representativeness, but they eliminate the varied response from compared types of leaders across 6 sectors. Purposive sampling come from my professional collections and recommendations. Informed consent has been sought. So these are the target sector. From politics, like the government departments, legislative councillor, and district board councillor, and the finance, including banking, investment, insurance companies, business, including those local Chinese and international business firms, social welfare, including those welfare association, youth groups, women association, technology, I plan to include social media, internet companies, IT, and computer industries. Education, I will include principals, subject heads, teachers, and also those who are teaching local, national, and cultural, environmental, global, digital. Methodology, as I have said before, I adopt interview, which is in-depth exploratory in nature. About 1 hour long in interview, the interviewees will be asked to share their in-depth views. Prompts will be used either by phone interview or Zoom conferencing. Start in autumn 2024 to spring 2025. These are the interview questions. Number 1. What are the meanings of good citizenship from your sector point of view? Number 2. Why do you put down such meanings of good citizenship? Number 3. If there is any new meaning of good citizenship in this post-pandemic and digital era, what would they be? Why? Number 4. What are the possible explanations of any changes of good citizenship in your sector, like good practices, knowledge, skills, or values and attitude required to make some changes? Number 5. Is there any differences I would like to explore about the digital and physical lives on the meanings of good citizenship? Number 6. In particular, what would be the possible relationship between good citizenship and informed good practices in your practice, in your sector? So number 7, are there any questions that you want to supplement this topic? So this is my thinking behind. Apart from the global pandemic, I would also like to explore the other socio-political factors as well as the digital era, which impact on the changes and the new meanings of good citizenship. Yeah, and so the school education and public education also have been significantly being affected by some socio-political factors behind. So these are the findings. First of all, digital citizenship. Interviewees tell me about the awareness of the digital world and also the digital tools influencing their relationship. Students need some reminders about the same set of moral expectations should be applied in the virtual environment. So students are expected to follow the rules of the law, even the internet is not a real place. Yeah, and also after the pandemic, in this digital era, it is something that teachers would like the students to share with you. We have to promote information literacy. Morally speaking, in digital life, it is even more demanding than the definition of good citizenship in physical life because one person owns determination or the person has to be ethical enough not to commit any bad act by himself or herself. Yeah. National security citizenship. Because Hong Kong implemented national security citizenship back in 2020, so among some interviewees, they put forward the idea of fostering a sense of national unity among the students. And national security is being given a high priority rather than the local and global concerns. Teaching national security becomes a requirement. Healthy lifestyle. We need to inform the student about healthy lifestyle because healthy lifestyle is so important to maintain mental health. To the student, there is a need. They have seen some drug-related activities. So some teachers think that this is the way to go ahead about the living lifestyle. And also, mental wellness issue of the members themselves is a must to some interviewees. Law obeying, yeah. To some interviewees, they think that educating students about the rules of the constraints will be some rules that they have to learn. Being good cannot fall below the law obeying standard, which involves adhering to the rules and laws of the community, assuming that these are the good laws. Next, community citizenship. Fulfilling responsibility means, on the one hand, making good use of the support provided by the community to help the citizen grow. On the other hand, to some people, they should contribute to the community so that both themselves and other members can benefit. This is the basic approach of community citizenship to make a good citizen, whether it's towards the level of a country, society, or the world. And to another interview, we mentioned about the good citizenship means something like organization or people, they should be willing to contribute to the betterment of the community members, especially for the underprivileged groups, because especially they are in the NGO sector, social service sector, which serve the people resourceful. Then I have also found environmental citizenship. They concern about natural environment because the environment impacts of consumption and energy use by the city people. So they propose the idea of concept of environmental citizen. Next one, corporate citizenship. Here I have found corporate sense of citizenship. They argue for contribution to the society and they organize community service and they conduct volunteer work by the employees. Yeah, the reasons are that we have found because of the students have more contacts with China, they have their family background, education background, early years in mainland China. So when they come to Hong Kong, they should learn about some new meanings of good citizenship. Another reason I have found is that multicultural education, because more and more there is a need to integrate a multicultural education curriculum to encourage implementation of diverse attitudes and values in the education. Yeah, the explanation can also be found in the pandemic because the pandemic influenced what we call the civic awareness. The pandemic affect on the one side enhancing the sense of interconnectedness. It has shown that a small group of people can have something impact on the other people, on mobilization, on something like public enhancing their awareness. So this awareness has been quickly strengthened, deepened of our understanding how we are living in this earth. So this perspective moves beyond how we used to view things. From this positive angle, it highlights the importance of working together to solve problems, which is both beneficial and necessary for health. And then digital era. While this doesn't have any direct connection to the pandemic, but then the digital world really sees some significant changes after the pandemic times. Because when we discuss the differences between good citizenship in the digital and physical worlds, one major distinction is the heightened interconnectedness being brought by the digital era. So here comes the implication. We have found new and updated meanings of good citizenship have been emerging. And in responding to the pandemic era, some interviewees mentioned about hygiene or healthy habits. In response to the digital era, some interviewees mentioned about digital citizenship. And in response to the elderly needs, and some interviewees mentioned about caring citizenship and also community citizenship. In response to the environmental needs, some interviewees mentioned about environmental citizenship. And in response to the demands of the national, and then there is a saying of national security citizenship. And then finally, in response to the new roles of corporations, there is a saying of corporate citizenship. So in conclusion, I would suggest Hong Kong secondary school curriculum, since there has been very limited emphasis on multiculturalism, but more emphasis on subject knowledge, there's a need to raise the enhancement and awareness and also the teaching about different types of values. Environmental education, community values, and also digital citizenship. So the education policy maker should review and formulate policy and training programs to facilitate the integrations of multicultural education into the current system. So this is my list. So any questions here, and then you can contact me by email, or you would like to find me on the website. And the acknowledgement goes to the Research and Development Fund of Hong Kong Metropolitan University. Thank you.